Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are the UX design people. In this channel, we share tips, principles, inspirations, and everything related to UX design. Our focus for today's episode is to use Figma variables in creating light and dark mode designs. At the end of this video, you will learn how to create Figma variables, apply them to your layers or your design elements, and also to switch between light mode and dark mode, all in Figma. Eventually, this is going to be our end result. We are going to work towards creating this dark mode from this page. Thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't, please do, and turn on your notifications so that you know immediately when my content drops. Like I said earlier, we're going to be playing with Figma variables today. If you don't know what variables are, you can actually go to Figma's website and check out their articles on variables. They have a lot of articles that you can check out regarding this topic. I'm just going to be doing some practical applications of Figma variables. On my screen, you can see this landing page. I got it from Untitled UI. It's one of their design kits on Figma. You can just check out Figma community. I'm going to be converting this section, just this section, to dark mode. So I took out this section, I duplicated it for some reason, which I'm going to explain later. We want to convert this into this. Yeah, the reason I duplicated it was to explain to us what styles mean. I don't know if you're already familiar with styles, but if I click on this and I roll over to the selection colors, you can see that these colors are not named compared to this part that the colors are named. So these names are called styles. If you click on your canvas and you bring back the controls, you will see here that you have local variables and local styles. So these styles are the circular ones. Right here I have color styles for purple and for neutral. If you are creating a new file from scratch, you may not have any styles. Like I said, we want to convert from this light mode to this dark mode. Our goal is not to have two sections with different color codes for background and text. The advantage of using Figma variables is that you don't have multiple sections like this. You have only one that you can come to the appearance section here to change from light mode to dark mode. Our goal is to have just one section that you can control from the appearance section over here. Before we continue, let me quickly show us around. You need to know where your stuff is. First thing you need to know is that styles are available to everyone. Like I said earlier, when you come, you click out of your layer. You don't click the layer. Once you click the layer, you will not see styles. So you just click out of the layer. You make sure that you are on the canvas. That's the main page, the canvas itself. You see your styles and your variables. If you want to create a new color style, you can do that from here. You can also create text styles by clicking on local styles. Styles can be applied to text, color, effect, grid. You can try all this in your free time. To create a new variable, you can come over here, then select create variable. You can see all what variables can be applied to: color, number, string, boolean. Colors, everybody knows colors. Your color code, you can attach any color code to a variable. You can as well add numbers to variables, so it means that you are going to be using only numerical digits. Then for string, these are just text, normal text, A, B, C, D, your punctuation marks, different texts and numbers. But the difference between number and string is that using variables, you can calculate with numbers. That means you can compute, it's quantitative, while string cannot be computed. It means that you cannot perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division on strings. Then boolean, this one is basically a switch. It's like true or false. It's mainly used to hide or show things. Let's say you want to show icon on a button, or you want to hide icon on a button. This is what the boolean is for. The next thing I want to talk about is that variables are available to everyone, but with only one mode on free plan. If you are not on a paid plan, that's the professional plan or the enterprise plan, you will not be able to create light mode or dark mode. The file I'm working with right now is not on a free plan, it's on a paid plan. That is why I can use light and dark mode. Because once you come here and you try to create a variable, let's say I want to create a color, this value is what the mode is. You put the name here, let's say background base, and the value is what you want to put here. If you are not doing dark mode, you just input your value, maybe white or light gray, whatever. But if you are using mode, this column here is going to be your first mode, that's your mode 1. Then you add another mode. Once you try to do that on a free plan, it's going to bring up this mode up, but my own is paid. That is why I can use multiple modes. Another thing to note is where to change from light to dark mode. You might be done with your designs and everything, but you are asking yourself, where exactly do you switch from light to dark mode? You might be wondering, I'm done applying my variables, I'm done adding the modes and the lights. Where do you do it? You come to this side, you make sure you click on that layer you want to switch, or maybe it's a section. If it's the whole page, you click outside, that is the canvas that I mentioned earlier, and you see this apply variable mode. Here you can come and see all the collections, all the variables that you've made, while this one is from other design systems that I imported to this file. You don't have to worry about that. The point is, when you see this icon, this apply variable mode icon, you know that you can change from light mode to dark mode. Now it depends on what you name your mode. There I didn't name the mode, I just put mode 1, mode 2. If you want to rename your mode, you easily go back into your variables and you double click on this, name this one light and you name this one dark. That's basically how to create a variable. I name this background base. You can name it whatever you want, just to make it clear. One more thing to notice, there's something called collection. The collection is basically a way of grouping your variables. You have collections and you have groups. If I want to create a new collection, just to show you how it works, I come here and create new collection, then name it sample. In this collection, there's no variable here. It means that every time you want to create a variable, you need to be conscious of the collection that the variable is going to save in. The first collection I did is collection 1, and if I go back to it, you can see my variable. Remember I said earlier that we have collections and you have groups. I've shown you how to create a collection by using this icon. To add variables to groups, you can right click on this, you will see different options. You can edit the variable, duplicate the variable, or even delete it. But what I want to do is to add the variable to a new group. Let me call this group background. This is my group. I double click and rename it to background. That is simply how to add variables to groups. If I create a new variable, it's going to be under this background. We will see more of this as I move on. Apart from this background group that I created under this collection, these are other examples of variable groups that you can create. You can create a group for text, for primary, for success, for warning. I'm focusing more on colors in this video because what we are trying to do is to change from light mode to dark mode. And it means changing colors. We are not touching the text, the font size, we are not touching any padding, we're not touching any other thing, just the color. Now let me show you the trick that I use to set up my modes. If you have styles already, just read this statement along with me. This is my background base and it should always turn from neutral 000 to neutral 900. If you look over here, I have neutral 000 and neutral 900. This is just a template. You may decide to use it or not. But so I click on the element I want to change. If I click on this white background now, I want to change the background. This is my background and it should always turn from white to black. That means that when you are setting up your modes in the variables panel, you name it the background base or whatever you want to name that variable, and you set it that it should turn from white to black. It's as simple as that. Let's make a quick example of this. I'll draw this rectangle. That's this gray color which I don't want it to have. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say, okay, this is my background and I want it to always turn from white to black. What will I do? I click outside, I go to my variables panel, then create the background base, which I've done already here. You can see that right here, both on light mode and dark mode, is white, and we don't want that. We want it to go from white to black. If you come here, you are not going to see the styles. Surprise, surprise. Come to libraries, you are not going to see the styles. That's one thing to always note. When you are creating variables, your styles are not going to show up. What do we do instead? What I like to do is that I try to make a copy of whatever I'm doing, like this section, and you now see the reason. That is why I duplicated it. Here you have this section with no styles. All the elements have detached the styles from them, while this one has styles. You can't convert them to variables directly. You just have to make do with the ones without styles. Once you've detached the styles, they are going to show up here as raw colors, and these raw colors are what you're going to use to fill in your variables. You come down to the rectangle here that you want to apply the variable to, right? Then you come into your variables panel, the light mode. You want this rectangle to always go from white. This is white, right? Then the dark mode should always be black. I'm not sure if this is the blackest black, but it's something you can always go back to copy from the style itself. something like this. So you want it to go from white to this color. Right now we have set up the variable. Once you do that, you can close the panel and apply the variable. This is our background group, and if you hover on this, you will see the color, the variable that we just created, background base. Once you click on it, it changes to white, and it means that it has been applied to this rectangle. Now look at this appearance section. You can see that the appearance section now has the icon to apply variable mode. Right now let's try to apply the variable mode. Once I switch to dark, it becomes dark. That's basically how to create variables and how to apply them, and how to switch from light mode to dark mode. I'm going to be doing this on a much larger scale now. Hopefully you get it as soon as possible. If you don't get it immediately, just watch the video over and over. What we want to do now is to create and apply variables to all these elements: the background, this text, this text, this text, this background, this fill color, this icon color, everything you see here that has a color. Let's start from the parent layer. I click on this and I check the fill. I can see that it is white, and I already have a background base color for it because I always want this background to change to almost black. So I apply the background base to it. Right, if I come back to this layer, this child layer, there's no color right now, but the container here, there's no color. And I start picking the elements one by one. Everything that has a color must have a variable. Our goal is to go from having these color codes to having something like this. Now you have to be very careful. Don't use the lazy approach by coming here to select all the colors that have white, all the colors that have black. If you do that and you apply the variable, let's say this text and this icon fill, they have the same color, but by the time you want to change it to dark mode, they will now have different colors. You want to do it one by one. It may seem a lot, but by the time you do one section, it's going to be much easier for you when you are doing the rest of the page. So let's start with this contact us. Another way to create variables, you don't have to always come here to create variables. This part is very good for creating different modes. If you want to just create your variable, you can actually select the color, come to this fill section here and create the variable or your style. When you select this plus icon, it's automatically set on variable. If you want to create style, you switch back to this side. It creates the round ones that we're all used to, but the variable ones are the square ones like this. So you can select your collection. We're using collection 1, and I want to name this color. Let's just name it primary, then create variable. This variable is created. If you come to the local variable section to confirm, you can see that we now have primary, but it's not in any group. If you come to background here and you create, it's going to fall under background. But right now it's under all variables. You can now move this one to its own group if you want. It's totally optional. Let's get back to creating the variables. This is our text. You may want to say, okay, this heading text, or maybe all your headings should change from this color to white on dark mode. So you have this color right here. Select it and create a new variable under collection 1 and say heading. Let me see if I can create a group from here. Yes, so if you do something slash your variable name, it's going to create that variable under the first word that you typed before the slash. It's like you're just saying, oh, create this under text. Now you can see that apart from background, and I have text as a group, and this heading is a variable under my group. I'll just go ahead to do the rest. Now, the last thing for you to do is to decide whether your icons will change color on dark mode. According to my own design, like what I have at the back of my mind before this design, was that the icons are just going to remain white. For that, I don't need to apply variables. But if you want to, you might still put variables, and then on dark mode, you just leave the color the way it is. So let's just do that. It's optional, it's totally optional. So this white that is inside, belongs to the four of them. And just come here and create. You can use one of the variable names that I listed earlier, your text, background, fill, etc. So here I'm just going to use fill slash white, and then that's it. If you come over to our variable section, you can see now that we've created different groups. We have primary here, it doesn't belong to any group. We have background with 3 variables, text with 4 variables, link with only 1, and fill with only 1. You can increase your variables panel to your desired width. What you want to do is to check the dark mode and start editing the colors to match what you have in mind. Now that you've applied the variables, if you select the parent and you come over here, you can see that all the colors have changed. You can no longer see the actual hex codes or anything. You can't see styles. This is our goal. This is what you want. You've already changed your background from white to black on dark mode, and you can see that the fill here is background based. So why is it not changing to black? It's because you've not changed the appearance. So you can change the appearance now just so that you can see the changes, or you change the appearance after you've edited all this. I like to change the appearance before editing the dark mode just so that I can see. You've already set up the light mode. Don't touch this part anymore. This is where you come. You come to the dark mode. You change the appearance collection 1 to dark. You can see that the change has now been effected. Now you don't touch the design, just leave it as it is. What you want to do now is to select the dark mode, all the ones that are still the same color. You try to change them so that they will eventually look like this. This primary color, you want to leave it for now. You might still change it later. You might make this one lighter or darker depending on the contrast. For the light background, don't forget that this light background was created for these 4 cards, these 4 backgrounds. You just come here. I want it to be transparent white. You can either use transparent white or you find a lighter version of the background. It depends on what you want to use. So let me try to use F and 5% and see what I have. So yeah, this is good. So you close it, you come to primary background. This primary background is what I used for these icons, and I'm not ready to touch them yet, so I want to move on to the text. The heading is still black. Now I want the heading to change on dark mode to white, so I just drag this all the way up. You can see that it's taking effect. The subheading, I just want to make it very demure. So I think I'll just go and pick it from this, yes, this light purple. I'll just pick this light purple and see how it goes. I might reduce this to 90. Then the next one is the card heading. That's the title here. So don't touch the design. Like I said, I've not touched the design. What you want to do is to continue playing with them until the design is exactly what is on your mind. For the heading, I want to change it to white, pure white. For the subheading, I want to use something not so purple. So let's see if this will do. This is not so bad. For the link, that's this last bit over here. I want to make it just a little bit lighter so that people can easily see it. So yes, it's looking good already. Let's go back to these icon colors. I want them to be a bit darker. What I'll do is I'll just go back to background primary. I have not changed the color, so I pick a darker color. Yes, I think I like this one. So this is what it looks like right now. You can see that it looks so close to this, but they are not exactly the same, and that's because I'm picking the colors off the top of my head. If you want this to look exactly like this, you can just get the color code by yourself. You come to this background base, take the color and choose this. You can see that they are now the same. Now this is where the magic happens. Let me quickly close this. Let me close this and go back to the appearance part. This part is always busting my head because once you come back here and you switch to light or this default light, it switches immediately to light mode. And when you come back here to change it to dark mode, it changes immediately to dark mode. So this is pretty easy, and I feel like it's a straightforward tutorial. It's something that you can easily follow along. For this one, there's nothing to change here because there's no variable attached to any element here. If you start attaching variables to each of these texts, you can see that this text is still carrying the style. This is still carrying style. All these, they are still styles, and variables don't work on styles. You can still continue changing the colors, tweaking them until you get your desired design. Just use your brand colors. Feel free to play with those colors, and don't forget that contrast is very important when you are doing dark mode. You don't want the colors to start fighting one another, like leaving this one as pure white. It's not going to be fine. Let me give you an example. you leave it as pure white like this and you change this one to black, let's say, um where's the black, let me just put this black. Yeah, this is not entirely dark mode, it's just like, I don't know what it is, but you get what I'm saying. You don't want to have your design like this. You want to make sure that your dark mode is truly dark. You don't want people to be struggling as they're scrolling across the page. Just make sure that everything works together. Now we can copy this section and replace the one in the page with it. I've replaced it now. I can go ahead to convert the rest of the page to dark mode. It's pretty easy. We already know that this background is background base. So we just look for background base. You can search here and just search base and select it. It's not changing, right? Why is it not changing? Don't forget that we've not set this part to dark mode. Once you select this and you put dark, it's going to change. Can you see it? That's changed. So you want to just select all the text that have the same colors here, and you may want to use subheading. Let's see if subheading works. It works. Then all of these, you just want to use subheading. If you don't want to start selecting everything one by one and going to this place to apply the variable, you can just copy the properties by pressing Command Option and C all together. Command Option C, press it together, then select all the text that you want to apply it to. Then you press Command Option V. So you are copying the properties from here and pasting it here. The same properties I want to paste here as well. You can just paste it. You see that it's taking effect. Before it was the style that we do not want. Then once you do the shortcut, it changes to the subheading. So that is basically how to do it. The top, you may want to leave the top like that. I don't think it's so bad. But if you want to change it, you can come here and use something like let's see, card heading, subheading. You might use card heading, the whiter one, so it's whiter than the rest, or you can just leave it as this one. This stroke is something that you may want to do as well. Don't forget that when I listed the variable groups that you can use, there's something like border. So this border is something you want to create in the variables panel. You can just come here, detach this style, because if you don't detach it, you can't create a new variable. You detach it and then you create a variable. So you call it border slash, just call it light. Yeah, border slash light. Now you've applied the variable. In the variables panel, you come here, you look for the border. This is it. Now you want to change the color. So you can just look at the color as you're changing it, and you see it until you see your desired color, or you just come over here and select this. Just feel free, play with it. Just try, keep trying until you see the one that really works well with your design. Now we've done the footer, we've done this. If you want a different background for the footer, you know what to do. You just come to the variables panel, you create a variable, or you come over here to create a new variable. The get in touch part is basically the same thing. You want to start changing the backgrounds, the text, and everything to the color that you want. The stroke is what we want to change. So I'll just select all the elements that have the stroke, then come here, take the stroke and create a new variable. So border slash input stroke. Now that you've created the variable, you go to border. This is the input stroke, and you look for a good stroke that is going to work well. Yeah, this is nice, this deeper color. You can also use this one. Let's see if it will work. Copy and paste. Let's see, it actually works. So yes, this is it. Then for this part, select background base for the background. Then this part that is black, just look for text, the heading. Yes, use the heading. This part, since it's not very white, you can use the subheading. Then here, I don't want to change this button. I want it to look exactly the way it is. For this button, I also want to use white, which is heading. So yes, this is it. You can see this ugly white line that is disturbing our design, that is not making it look nice. So we want to make it very light, almost invisible. You can check the border on light mode to see how it is. On light mode is something that is very faint, just like our footer border. And we've changed the footer border, right? This one. So we just look at the color that we used for this. It's border light. Yeah, so you come back here and use border light for this stroke light. So yes, let's place them side by side so that we can see what they look like. This part, this one is the one that doesn't have variables, and you cannot change it to dark mode. If you come to the appearance section, you will not see the icon, while this one is the one that has variables all over. So you can change this one from light to dark mode. You can see that is already here. Your collection is already highlighted. You can change it back to light mode if you want. The reason this one is not changing, this is even good. I like that this happened. The reason this is not changing is because this one was selected. You know, anything you apply to the children overrides what you do to the parents. So for this one to change with the parents, you have to come here and select auto. That means default. So here we have dark mode. Come back and change it to dark mode, and here we have light mode. So it's very easy. I'm just noticing this privacy policy that is here that we have not changed. So I want to use subheading so that people can see the friendly privacy policy and read it. Now we've come to the end of this video. We've been able to discuss the differences between styles and variables. I've shown you how to create variables and how to apply them to your designs. I've also shown you how to switch between light mode and dark mode. You can use variables for more than light mode and dark mode selection. You can use variables to do prototyping. You can use it for calculations. You can use it for different fun things that we are going to talk about in future videos. So if you have any requests regarding variables, interactive prototypes, and things like that, just let me know in the comment section. If you have questions, if you need some more clarification on this tutorial, let me know in the comment section. Let me know the type of content you like to see more from this channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, share my videos, invite your friends, like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, try to apply this tutorial in your designs. Don't just watch and go. It's very advisable that you have your laptop beside you as you are watching this video so that you can follow step by step. All right, now our time is up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.